Welcome to Seniors Count. I'm your host, Tula Mall. On our show, we believe that you are the foundation on which Boston was built. So our goal is to connect you to resources, benefits, and information to enhance your life. Thank you for joining us. Today, we welcome artist Efon Elad. Welcome to the show, Efon.
Thank you very much.
We are so happy to have you here. So today, we're going to talk about some of your paintings, but why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about you, where you're from. How did you start to do this?
Well, thank you very much, Tula. I come from Cameroon. It's the country bordering Nigeria on the east, and it's north of the Atlantic Ocean. And, you know, Cameroon was at first a British colony. Well, there were very many colonies. The Germans, the Portuguese, the French, and the British.
Wow.
And when the Portuguese when they were doing the explorations, they got to the estuary around the Atlantic Ocean there, and they found a lot of prawns. These are very delicious looking sea creatures, and they were excited and enthusiastic, and they ate. In fact, I think I ate the last batch of prawns that we ever had in the world. Yeah. When they finished eating these prawns, they named the area, the river, Rio del Cameros, which means river of prawns. Yeah. And then over the years, it became Cameroon.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I did not know that.
Yeah, well. It's a little history.
It's a little history. That's a good piece of
yeah,
history.
Yeah.
And how long have you lived here in the United States or in Boston?
I think I have lived in the United States for more than a million years.
But that's what it feels like.
It's quite a while I've been here. I've been here for over 30 years.
Okay. Well,
and
that's a lifetime.
I've been living just in Boston over the past 30 years.
Wow. So when did you start painting? Because I know this isn't something you did your whole life.
No. Well, thanks for asking the question. Actually, at high school, back at home when I was a teenager, I dabbled in watercolors. But it was not a big deal. In fact, the only person who made use of this talent was my father. He was a schoolmaster. And he used to ask me to paint banners for his school on Empire Days, holidays, and things like that. But it was not a big deal. Yeah. I never made use, I didn't think about it. But what happened is, you know, all over the world, people want to come to America. I was not an exception. So I started planning to come to America. And let me tell you, curiously, it took me 14 years from the date I left Cameroon with the intention of coming to America. Yeah. It took me 14 years to get to the United States.
Oh, wow.
And when I got to America, you know, I started rushing in for the American dream. Yeah. And time just flew by. Yep. Now, what happened here is that when I was doing a lucratian, I was producer of sheetrock. I tested the quality of sheetrock for a number of years. And when I lost the job after 9/11, it was difficult to get another job. And it was like you dropped into an abyss, an endless pit. And it was like you know, you don't know when you were going to stop free falling. and I said, but I had gone around looking, remembering that I had done some kind of art back home. I went around, I went to Connecticut, I went to Cambridge here, and looking for somebody to show me how to mix colors.
Okay, so that was your first step.
And then I landed at St. Francis House.
Yep.
And I met the art therapist there.
Yeah.
Her name is Linda Dolph. And I asked her, can you, but the thing is, I went to St. Francis House to eat.
Yeah.
And, Linda said, you came to the right spot. I'm going to show you how to mix it. She showed me the color wheel. And I started mixing colors. And I did the first color mixing and the second color mixing. On the third day, I told this lady that I was thinking about starting to paint.
You were hooked.
Yes.
Okay.
And she asked me, what do you want to paint? I said, I didn't know.
Yep.
But I started painting. That was around 2007, late 2007.
Yep.
You
haven't stopped since.
I didn't look back.
Yeah.
I didn't look left. I didn't look right. I have not stopped.
Well, this is amazing. That's the perfect headway to talk about some of your art here.
Right.
So I want to start with maybe something that was influenced by where you're from Cameroon. So maybe this one? Is this an influence of your native country, or you tell me?
Talking about influence.
Yeah.
When I went to this adult center in Cheshire, in Connecticut, the art director there asked me, what do you want to paint? And I said to her, I don't know what I want to paint, I just want to paint. But the moment I started painting at St. Francis House, I realized that there was a treasure trove of information about the arrival of colonists in my country,
Okay, yep.
about my cultural heritage, my parents, and about other civilizations. So actually, I coined the theme of my art as the forgotten cultures of my country, Cameroon,
Yep.
West Africa, and other civilizations.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, and
Forgotten cultures.
yeah, the
I
forgotten
like that.
cultures.
That's
The reason
beautiful.
I termed it forgotten cultures is because when the colonists came, they were just very busy introducing their way of
culture,
life.
yeah.
And nothing was actually written that I can remember about the innate attributes of these people,
Got it.
their way of behavior, and their culture.
Yeah.
So as soon as I coined up this, like I said, it was like a treasure trove.
Yeah.
And it is still a treasure trove.
Great.
Now, for instance, the painting you see there
Yep.
is, I titled it "The Last Governor of the Colonists." He's
And who's the governor? The guy in
governor.
black?
No. The governor. He is Governor James Mendelssohn. That's how I called him.
Okay.
Because that was the last. This is a fictional name.
Yeah.
Mendelssohn is a fictional, but I am trying. It denotes the fact that the last of these governors was a British general or something. And he's decorating a police officer. This is how police officers dressed in my country during the colonial days. You will notice the turban-like cap with some ruffled ribbons, a badge in the center, and they walked barefoot.
Yeah. I don't know if this camera can zoom in on that, but he's barefoot.
Yes. So I just captured that. This is the last image I have of my childhood seeing a police officer.
Wow.
That's what I put in there.
Very beautiful. All right. Why don't you talk about this one over here? So this one looks like a...
My country is, you cannot imagine how peaceful the people are in my country. We have lived in a very peaceful situation over the past 50 years. No wars, no agitations. Because I think, to begin with, the soil is very fertile. The men love their women, and the women love their men.
That's good.
So what happens is you have a lot of food to eat, and you know, Cameroon being a former French colony, what the French did with us is they opened up breweries all over the place.
Okay.
So you can just pop into a brewery and you ask to be a dealer in beer or something, and they just flow the beer to you. Excuse me, and as a result, there is beer and wine and, you know, food all the time. So we eat, we drink, we party, and we live and love. That's what I'm trying to explain there.
That's beautiful. I mean, the colors are so vibrant, and they look like they're enjoying themselves. I mean, they're cooking, but you know, it's not like they're not toiling over. It's just enjoyable. The children are there hanging out. It is very beautiful.
I just tried to give my impression of what I think the country, or my country, feels like. It's not all green and stuff like that. You still
but it's
have
an impression of a place and a time and a sentiment of love and happiness, and I think it portrays that absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk about the painting behind you.
Can
so
I
if you
stand
want to
up?
turn around,
Yep.
Well, how are you going to do this?
All right,
Here.
I'll just turn around.
Turn around
this
that way
way.
and talk about it.
One of the other areas that I tackle in my life is, I call this a biblical story.
Okay.
The reason I go into biblical stories is during the very dark days of my life, and I've had these moments of adversity for a long time. I don't know, I seem to enjoy adversity. And at the time, before I came to the United States, I told you it took me like 14 years to leave my country. I come to the United States. I read an awful amount of literature. I read mystical books, but one of the books that I read that was very impressionable, not with a religious connotation or things like that, it's just I read the Bible as a book of entertainment. I love the stories of primordial human beings. And one of the characters that touched me very much, and I had a big poster, a big portrait of this human being. I'm not talking about him as the Son of God, as religious institutions give us the impression, but I read about Jesus as a man.
As a man, yeah. You thought of him as a man in a story, a
I
human.
did really read a book, Jesus Christ the Man. It was written by somebody with an Islamic background. And it was so captivating. I could see myself being this person, translating, interpreting, and actually performing very, what you call miraculous deeds. So I named this painting Lazarus Come. Because this is one of the stories that has captured my imagination for years. I sat down one day and thought about seeing another human being not responsive.
Yeah, rise from the dead.
And this human being has been ordered by another human being to come out of the dead.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It is.
That's what I tried to do there.
I think you accomplished it. So the themes that you like to paint are about biblical stories.
I like biblical stories.
They're very, beautifully written. So there's a lot to take from.
Right.
About your home.
Right.
You're in Cameroon. What else is something you enjoy painting?
I do paint other ideas of, for instance, I have portraits that I have painted of some very prominent politicians in the United States.
You've shown them to me, yes. So you'd like to do portraits.
I do portraits.
But not of people you know.
I don't do portraits because I want to do specifically portraits. Mm-hmm. I want to portray my particular affection for certain characters.
Okay.
And I do that. One of the characters I've tried to portray in the portraits I've done is the young president of the United States of America today. Yeah. He's African American. Mm-hmm. He's African. Mm-hmm. He is, in fact, he embodies the whole of my understanding of what a human being should be. Mm. He's young, he's talented, he's intelligent. I think he's the most revolutionary president we have had in modern day. So I did 3 portraits of him, mm-hmm. and the portraits I did of him.
You didn't bring any portraits, right? I don't remember seeing any.
No, I didn't bring any portraits.
That's too bad.
This is
okay.
not.
We can talk about these.
Yes,
But continue your story.
I did this portrait to commemorate, in my own context, the re-election of this prolific young man. Yep. And in this process, I have other individuals who played an active and very prominent roles during the election campaign. Mm-hmm. And having lived in Boston for 30 years, my affiliation at that level is with Bostonians. Mm-hmm.
Great. Let's talk about, these are some paintings of some buildings, right? Yes. So I know this one.
Yes.
Let's show that one. That one is, these are paintings of things you see every day. So this is your neighborhood.
This is Ames Street.
Yep.
I live about a block towards the left from here.
Did you stand outside and take this picture, or you used it from memory?
I stood outside and watched this particular scenery for about 3 hours.
That's beautiful.
And I did it from memory as a result of that.
That's great. So
it's Ames Street during the summertime.
Yeah. All right, and what about this one right here?
Well, while growing up, in my mother's village, we had the paramount ruler of that area. His name was Mokoso. He had one of the most luxurious buildings you could find in those areas. It's not the same thing, but when he passed on, it was rumored that that building was haunted. Ah. So I couldn't, if I went back to paint exactly this building.
Okay, so this was from memory.
Yes.
Yeah.
It would not give me an accurate impression of what I wanted to do. Okay. So I used a model of a building somewhere in Boston.
Okay.
You have this sort of buildings all over the United States. So I try to make it look as fallen, as desolate as possible, You can see the crows
Yeah.
just in my part of the world, Cameroon. When you see a lot of birds like that in the sky, well, the underlying sense is that there must be carcass around.
So, Efon, I don't want to rush you,
Yeah.
but we're running out of time. So I
That's
want to go
okay.
through some of the other portraits. Maybe you can just give us like a sentence or two about what these are.
This is my remodeled fishing village. We have a village like this around the west coast of Nigeria.
Okay, very beautiful.
You have buildings that have been made, put up
on the
by-
water.
On the water.
That's beautiful. All right, let's bring up another one. I see a trend here. You love to use these reds. Is that something that I've noticed that a lot in all these?
I have a painting that I entitled "The Red Roof Mansion."
It's not this one?
No, not this one.
This looks like a red roof
the
mansion.
reason I grew up in a plantation like setting with a lot of green and bananas around, and we lived in not so high flown buildings, but inside the banana plantation, the manager of this plantation lived in a mansion with a red roof.
Sure. So that's where you're getting the inspiration from. This is great. And this one's a bit more abstract than your other stuff.
Yes,
Let's talk about that one.
This is abstract.
And this is a more recent one. This is the 2014.
Yes. I am very fascinated with, let me not take people very deep into some of the aspects of my thinking, but I am aware of the tunnel. I know that
tunnel?
Yes.
Like for the cars?
I know that before I actually got into this particular life sphere, I probably came through a tunnel.
Oh, okay, so like mental tunnel.
Yes.
Okay, so this is a visualization of your time there.
There is at the end of it everything. I believe that I'm still going to go through a tunnel.
Yeah,
and
it feels very tumultuous.
But before you get into the tunnel,
okay,
there are lots of unexplained beauty and stuff like that.
I mean, there's beauty in the color scheme, but at the same time, it makes you feel.
And you cannot define it.
No, but it does make you feel a little.
You see the tunnel
turned.
there?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Let me say, I name it moments.
Moments off the tunnel. Ah. Yes, it is. It's very beautiful.
Thank you.
So. We're pretty much out of time.
That's okay.
But I want to let our audience know that if they're interested in, connecting with you and purchasing some of your work, to call us here at the Elderly Commission.
That's good.
And we can definitely connect them to you. Is that okay?
Very, very okay.
And you have a lot more than this. Just real quick, we put one up behind you.
Yes.
Can you tell us like one quick sentence about what this is?
Good. This is Boylston Street in Boston.
Street. Oh, very nice.
At Tremont Street.
Okay.
In fact, the reception of the Patriots, which happened last week, came from here.
But not during that weather. This is much nicer weather.
Yeah, this is during the summer. I've never really captured a winter scenario
there's
on
something
canvas.
to look
but
forward
I
to.
do have to think about that.
Yeah.
So when the Patriots rolled in with their duck boats, they didn't go right from here, they turned left. So this is Boylston Street at Tremont Street during the summer.
Well, Efon, thank you so much for coming and showing us your beautiful art and talking to us about Cameroon and what inspires you. I mean, it's just so amazing. You have so much to share. We may have another show just to talk about the 14 years it took to get you here. That could be interesting.
Maybe you could put that on canvas.
All right, well, there you go. There's another project for you.
Yes, I do have a number of projects that one of the projects I'm doing right now is Project Boston.
Okay. I'm sorry can you say it in 30 seconds? Because we have to go.
That's okay.
Okay.
Project Boston.
Project Boston. We'll talk about it.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you for watching Seniors Count, brought to you by Mayor Martin J. Walsh and our Commissioner Emily Shea. To contact us, please call 617-635-4366, or you can reach us at the Mayor's 24-hour hotline at 617-635-4500. You can also email us at elderly@boston.gov, or you can find us on Facebook. Take care and see you next time.
And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself.